everyone, welcome back to Shay's Hobby Doc Bay. I feel pretty good today. I got up kind of early. I didn't get up real early, so I did sleep a little late, but not too late. Around 10 o'clock is when I got up. A little after. Okay. Today's Monday. So that is, I don't have my laptop opened and on yet. I do have my phone, but I've already got it pulled up to what I want it to be on. Okay, so today is Monday, September, I'm going to say 24th. That's what I'm thinking it is. 2018, of course. The time right now, I can see my time on my phone. It is 1:32 p.m. in the afternoon. I have been doing dishes. I've also been doing some other things I needed to get done around here. Now I'm fixing to make videos. I'm here by myself, other than Butchie laying around here somewhere, asleep. Albert's at work, Elizabeth's at work. I don't have my Gracie today, so I guess Katie didn't have to work. Okay, so this video is a booktube video again. I am letting y'all know that I finished the phone book, Murder in Primary Colors by Nora Barker. Okay, so I think I told y'all a little bit about that. It's a college art museum, and one of the ladies that works there was found dead, and you know, her head had a dent in, and when they did the autopsy, I told y'all they found this little thing that was almost kind of like a little cannon bullet thing in her head. And that came from one of the art objects. I think they had named them, it was like sculptures that one guy was making and had on display. And I think he had named them No Nonsense or something like that, or No Nevers or Never Knows, or some odd name like that. Well, at first, so one of the other ladies that works there is the one that found it. Elizabeth is the one that got killed. And Chris is the lady that found her. Her name is Christmas Eve, and then her last name. So her first name's Christmas, her middle name's Eve. Her mama named her that. Her mama's name is Pansy, and all of her mama's sisters is named a flower also. So anyway, so Christmas Eve shortened her first name to Chris. Okay, so everybody calls her Chris. So Chris found Elizabeth dead. And at first, you know, they seen a ladder. It was right under a place where it looked like she was changing a bulb because there wasn't a bulb in it. And so that they figured she was changing a bulb and had slipped and fell. She did have high heels on. And that's what killed her. But then they seen the way her head looked. They couldn't find anything around with blood on it that looked like that's what hit her head and did that to her head. So they did the autopsy and they found that in it. And they knew it was from something else. But at first they still didn't know what it was from. But they had an opening about something. Yeah, this one guy that back in the day used to go to college there. He's an old man now and retired. And he is rich, you know, and he gets art, this expensive art stuff. So he was donating a piece of art, a painting, to the college. And that was the opening for that, to uncover that, reveal it, and, you know, thank him for it, and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And come to find out, he was really trying to do it for a tax thing. I don't understand all that, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Y'all probably understand that more than I do. So, anyway, so the police that kept coming to the college to investigate the crime about Elizabeth, how she got killed and why and who did it, and they was having to, what they call, interrogate everybody there, interview them, ask them questions, and all of that. So everybody was in an uproar, and everybody was nervous and scared and didn't know what, and all this kind of stuff. And then they had several suspects, you know. Well, all kind of different other things happened that I'm not going to be able to remember to tell y'all every little detail, you know. So anyway, finally they found one of those no-nonsense sculpture things. These type sculptures had to be plugged in. They were electronic, I guess, because they worked. They moved and they made noises, you know. Things swinging and hitting something and ding-a-linging and bells going off, and it was chimes and all kind of noises. So where they was set up in this room, when they were all plugged in, they all made these noises. They did talk about that, how it was always you went in there and you heard all this noise. So anyway, they found one of those in a dumpster. And so, because it was hid, and it shouldn't have been hid, it should have been in the museum with the rest of them. So, you know, they did some, I guess, investigating with it, and come to find out it was the weapon that shot the thing that they had found in Elizabeth's head. Alright, the guy that makes all those things, so they started questioning him. You know, he was a suspect. And he was a teacher in the college, and he taught art, and he made those things, and he was a prankster. So he was always pulling pranks on all the other people that worked there. And people didn't like that. They were upset with him. They were aggravated at him for pranking them, because he would do serious stuff, and they would think, you know, things were really whatever, and then come to find out it wasn't, because it would be a prank. So they were always so mad at him, and they didn't like him for that reason, for what he did. So anyway, but later on, come to find out, he ends up, well, actually, Chris is in her office working, okay? And so she starts hearing loud voices, like somebody's arguing. So she steps out of her office into, like, the lobby waiting room area there, or whatever. And she can't see them, but the office door of the guy that makes these machines was open, and she heard him and another voice arguing with someone, but she couldn't tell who that voice was. And then not long after that, the guy that makes the machines' body was found dead in his office. So then the police had to all come back, and they hadn't even solved Elizabeth's yet, and they had to do investigation and asking a bunch of questions, interrogating all of them again over that. Well, the extra stuff is about, see, this lady, she's not married, she lives by herself, but she has a dog. Okay, her mom, okay, Chris's dad had passed away about 3 years ago, I think it was. So her mom was like traveling all over the world and enjoying life. Well, she gets this call that her mom, no, she don't get the call. Actually, her mama calls her from the airport saying, come pick me up. I'm here. I've come to stay with you. I have fell and broke my hip, and I've been in the hospital. And this is the first she's hearing about it. And I'm supposed to lay up and, you know, rest and stay off my hip for a while. And I'm supposed to have therapy and all that. So I thought I'd come to your house to do all that. Stay with you. First time Chris had heard about it. So she has to go pick up her mom. So now her mom's staying with her. That's Pansy. Alright. So Pansy, the cop, you know, he kind of befriends Chris that's doing all the investigation. So he starts coming to her house to update her on the news of the murder. And since Pansy, Chris's mom, is there, she's listening to it. So she's asking the cop questions. So the cop starts telling Pansy things that really he's supposed to be quiet about and not tell anybody. And that he would normally even tell Chris. I can't relay that message. He just starts telling Pansy. And Chris even confronts him. I thought you were supposed to be quiet and not say all that kind of stuff. You know, of course, that ain't the words she said it in. But anyway, So Pansy would start thinking of questions and ask the cop these kind of questions, things he didn't think about, and he'd say, you know, that's a good idea, that's a good question or whatever, I need to check into that. So she was kind of a little bit smarter and a little bit helping him out with it all, too, as well as Chris. So anyway, it keeps going, and at the end, there was this other guy that worked there in the art. He was another teacher. And Chris had, I don't know why, I can't remember now, see, because this kind of happened early on in the book. But something happened, because this guy would come in to Chris's office and sit down one day and had talked to her and asked her something about Elizabeth, I guess. And I think what he was trying to do is find out what Chris knew, to see if Chris knew anything about him in his past. Okay. His name, what was his name? Colin. His name was Colin. And, you know, Chris, all of her people that she, her co-workers, I guess they're called, that she worked with, she thought she knew them. She thought they were good people. She thought she liked them. Some she knew real well and kind of spent a lot of time with talking to them, and others she just kind of basically worked with them and just kind of seen them and maybe spoke to them a little bit and about work, you know, and stuff like that, but not much else. Well, that's how it was with Colin. So Colin, and I guess I'm saying his name right, it was C-O-I-L-I-N or E-N or O-N or something like that. I can't even remember now. But anyway, so he had come in her office and sat down and asked her these questions, and she thought it was odd that he was asking her. And she didn't know nothing about it. She hadn't heard about this. And so she told him. And so that made her, I think that's what it was. I could have this part all screwed up. That made her want to pull his file, Colin's file, and read up on him. So when he wasn't around, she did that. No, she has like an assistant secretary type person, and he's a man too, and his name was Charlie. She had him to get Colin's file. So he brought it to her. She read through the file, so she found out some information about his past. In the past, he had went to jail for doing something. And he did not want anybody to know about this. He did his time, and he got out, and he was cleared, and it was supposed to be over with or whatever. He didn't want anybody to know about this. So, that's what he was worried about. Okay. So she was through with the file. So she took the file and put it on Charlie's desk so he could refile it. But for some reason, Charlie was busy and never could refile it, so it was on Charlie's desk for a long time. And so Colin had ended up seeing it. So he figured that Chris had looked through it and read it and found out about his past that he didn't want nobody to know. So she's at home one Saturday, not working, okay? She gets a call from the college, and she thinks that it's a guard that guards the door. And because the voice sounds just like him, and he said that he was that person. And he tells her that he found some door of some classroom unlocked that was supposed to be locked up. Unlocked and opened. And could she please come down there with him, you know, and help him check things out. So she had to go. Okay, so she gets there. It's a Saturday, nobody's working, so she's by herself. When she gets there, it's all dark. She has to start cutting lights on. She don't see him. She don't see nobody. And, let's see, I think there was, I don't know if there was anybody else supposed to show up or not. So anyway, then she goes in her office, and I can't remember what she's doing at first. Maybe she's just waiting for him or whatever. I don't know. But then she hears a sound. And that sound is very familiar. And that sound sounded like that machine shooting off the thing. So she gets worried. She checks a little bit, but don't really go fully out. And then she hears a voice. and it's Colin. So for the longest they talk back and forth, and she starts, because he's, you know, he's after her. He's got the machine. He's the killer. He's wanting to kill her, trying to, and she's hiding behind her desk, plus reaching up on her bookshelf and getting books and setting it down, blocking her view from the door. The door's open. She can't get it all the way closed. Her dog's there with her. Her dog starts growling. And so, you know, it's back and forth. So she's learning all this information out because she's talking to him. She's asking him questions. She's trying to delay him, and he's answering her because he thinks he's going to end up killing her, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So anyway, this thing had to be plugged up, and he had along an extension cord, but he thinks it came out. But really and truly it hadn't. It just kind of got all tangled up. He could have got it untangled, but he didn't know this. He thought it came untangled. So, you know, in the end, the dog runs out. Because, you know, he even threatened to kill the dog if the dog came out. You know, if she sent the dog out and all this kind of stuff. And she was afraid about that and didn't want that to happen. Just blah, blah, all kind of stuff happened. So the dog runs out, jumps on the guy. You can imagine where the dog grabbed at. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. So he was in very big bad pain. Okay, so he's doing that. And, you know, he starts whimpering, get the dog off, call him off, you know. And so then, this is the part I forgot to mention. Chris's son, Daniel, happens to work at the art place too, and he's a guard. Well, kind of a, not a big time guard. He's one that like does traffic tickets and stuff to him. But he's seen his mom's car there on a Saturday that it shouldn't be there when he was going on his way to do tickets. So he stopped in there to see her, not knowing what all was happening. So just think if he hadn't stopped. Of course, you know, and I may not have it just timed right the way it was, but he comes in. But he does. He come in and he sees the dog on this guy. And then his mama starts yelling, he's the killer, he's the killer. So he gets Colin and, you know, cuffs him up, handcuffs him up and everything. And then they call, Ryquist is the last name of the cop that's been working on the whole ordeal, and he comes. So that's what they had found out. And so the whole mystery was solved because they found out Colin was the killer. He killed both Elizabeth and the machine-making guy. I can't remember his name. But anyway, the reason was, I'm trying to keep an eye on my time. Don't go over 20. They had both, okay, Elizabeth had found out about Colin going to jail, the thing he didn't want nobody to know. That's why he ended up killing her. Alright? And I think she was blackmailing him. Come to find out, she was blackmailing that, holding that over his head about something to do something, and so he ended up killing her. Alright. Then the reason he killed the other guy is because that guy and Elizabeth had a thing going, and he was afraid or had thought that Elizabeth had maybe told him because he thought that guy said something to make him think he knew, and so somebody else knew he didn't like, so he killed him. And then when he found out and thought Chris had knew he was trying to kill her, then he got caught. So he's in jail. It was all solved. It's over with. So it was a pretty good book all in all. So I finished that book. Okay? Alright. Let me go back here. The next book, I'm going to run out. I've picked another book, and I've chose it, and I've already started reading it, and boy, is it a whopper. That's it right here. It's called Hickory Dickory Dead, and it's by Cheryl Bradshaw. That's it right there. I ain't got time to read it to you because we're 19 minutes in, and I'm afraid I'll go over 20 minutes. But I'm reading it, so when I finish it, I'll come on and tell you about it. Boy, this one is a whopper. I mean, it's the way it started out. Ooh, it was creepy and scary. This one kind of sounds like it's not a cozy mystery. It may not be. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so that's all. I'm out of here until next time I'm done. I'm going toodaloo.